This movie sucks. The first Lake Placid wasn't a masterpiece, but it was fun, self-aware, and a good time waster. Lake Placid 2, on the other hand, falls flat on its face. Even for a sci-fi movie, this one's rough. It starts out with a couple of guys out on the lake taking some samples, talking about some unusual disappearances. And this guy's about to be the next to disappear. Next, we meet Sheriff Riley and his son Scott. Pretty typical stuff here. Scott's parents split, his dad gets him for the summer, he's bored and more interested in girls. Oh, great, she has a dog. I'm sure he'll get eaten.
So why don't you talk to her already?
At the station, Riley meets with Frank, the other guy from the beginning, the guy who's still alive. At first they think Frank's just imagining the whole thing. That is, until they see what's left of his partner. Now, things get a bit more serious. The sheriff decides it's time to call in Fish and Wildlife, and right on cue she shows up, Emma, who has a history with Sheriff Riley.
Well, gentlemen, isn't this just ducky?
Come on, this couldn't be any more predictable.
But I'm a professional, I can handle it. It's just that I hadn't heard from you in so damn long.
Everyone goes to the lake to have a look around, which ends up being just an excuse to see Emma in her underwear. She pulls up a head from some very clear water, not like a lake at all, but yeah, something is eating people here. Their only lead is Sadie Bickerman, the sister of Dolores Bickerman, Betty White from the first movie. It's pretty lame they couldn't get her to come back, but honestly I get it. I wouldn't have signed up for this movie either. On their way to her house, they explain how the events from the first movie didn't even make the news, so no one knows about it. What? They had helicopters and guns and explosions in the first movie. No one heard a thing? On top of that, they transported the crocodile without covering it. Anyone driving on the highway would have seen that thing. No one from town knew there was a giant crocodile in the lake. That's the biggest croc, pun intended, I've ever heard. Anyway, they make it to Sadie's house, and just like her sister, she's not very nice. But this time, instead of cussing them out, Sadie just slams the door in their face. Not much help for now. Scott's out in the woods taking a hike, and lo and behold, who does he see? His crush, Carrie, and her boyfriend, Thad.
Shut up, Thad.
They get to talking, and Carrie invites him to a little camping trip they have going on. Being the new kid in town, he agrees.
Sure.
Our team's out on the lake again, just wandering around aimlessly, when the croc finds them. The CGI monster attacks, and everyone goes flying into the water. Because they're main characters, they all make it to the bank safe and sound. And that's when Struthers comes flying in. He's this movie's Hector Cry, the rich animal poacher, and his assistant, Ahmed. Struthers and Emma don't see eye to eye. She wants to contain the beast, while Struthers wants to kill it and mount it on his wall.
Come on now, Emma.
I know that Struthers, played by Sam McMurray, is a good actor. He's in a ton of stuff, but man, his accent just isn't doing it for me.
I can see yous all holding hands in the belly of the beast singing Give Peace a Chance.
Back over to Scott and his friends, who just found the creature's nest, filled with eggs. The price of eggs nowadays? These would be worth a small fortune. Thad picks them up and starts throwing them, which is a big mistake because Mama comes home, and she isn't too happy. Hey, at least Carrie's freed up to date Scott now. Seeing what they're up against, the team now splits up to try to take out the killer croc. Struthers in the air, Emma on sonar, and the rest in the boat. Things don't work out so well for them though. They already lost one harpoon. They load up another, get ready to fire, but Struthers wants the kill shot, his greed costing him his plane and a boat, because Ahmed accidentally harpoons the plane, taking out both vehicles. The good news is Ahmed is able to kill it, but we're only halfway through the movie. I'm guessing there's more crocs. That night, while they're all asleep, my suspicion is right. Another comes up to the camp for a midnight snack, trying to get to Struthers. But Ahmed once again jumps in to the rescue. But this time, it costs him his life. What about Scott and Carrie? Well, they're still just wandering around the woods. Their other friend, Larry, shows up, everyone else being eaten. Exhausted, they all decide to call it a night. But just then, a crocodile pays them a visit. So they climb up a tree and stay there to get some sleep. But man, are they slow. Climb a little faster. In the morning, the sheriff pays Sadie another visit. He now knows his son's out there somewhere, and he demands answers. She does eventually confess that she knows of 3 crocodiles: Max, George Jr., and Martha, named after Martha Stewart. Sadie treats them like her own children and cares more about them than she does any human being. The sheriff finds the nest and the eggs. They know they can't let these things hatch in the wild, but they need to take them to a lab to be studied. However, they gotta get them out before Mama comes back. Larry falls asleep up in the tree and manages to fall off the branch and right on top of a crocodile. Well, he's a goner. Did I mention the CGI is bad? The good news is Sheriff Riley heard his screams, and he now knows he's getting close to his son. This is their chance to escape. Scott and Carrie climb down from the tree, but what they don't know is that there's 2 of them, and now they're surrounded. But just then, the dog comes running to distract them, and they take off, going right to Scott's dad, who's prepared, blowing up the second crocodile. Knowing he needs to get these kids to a safe place while he hunts down the final creature, Riley takes them to Sadie's house, not knowing how much she really loves her pets. She loves them so much, she's willing to feed 2 kids to them. But in the nick of time, Carrie gets out of the way, and Sadie's eaten instead. They say never bite the hand that feeds, but I guess that doesn't apply to crocodiles. Emma's just about done with all the eggs, but then she hears some chirping, a sign that they're about to hatch, alerting their mother. Emma hides out in a hollow tree and uses a machete to stab it right in the heart, taking out the 3rd and final crocodile. But wait, there's more! Somehow, there's another. I guess Sadie miscounted. It lobs off Struthers' head and comes for the rest of them. Luckily, the sheriff has a plan. He laced the bait with some TNT. The creature ate it, so now it's time for some fireworks.
After a while, crocodile.
Except, it doesn't work. Good thing the good old grenade launcher does, blowing it to Kingdom Come. Is that the last one? I don't know. The movie can't even keep track. Scott and Carrie kiss. And hey, would you look at that? The dog comes back safe and sound.
Daisy!
Riley and Emma rekindle, and a happy ending for all. Including me. I'm happy it's over. And that was Lake Placid 2. They didn't even try. All the characters are the exact same as the first movie, just different, cheaper actors. The millionaire big game hunter, the local sheriff, even the old lady who lives by the lake is a carbon copy of the first, just without the charisma. Well, I do take that back. Cloris Leachman is a good actor, and she did the best with what she had, but she's no foul-mouthed Betty White.
You're all cocksuckers!
And don't think I'm gonna let this movie go without talking about the CGI. It's terrible. Not only for the crocodile, but also the airplane. You're telling me you couldn't rent a plane for the day? Also, there's noticeable dubbing. I understand having to redub the actors' lines because maybe it was windy or the waves were making too much noise, but it's so noticeable that I feel like I'm watching an old Godzilla movie.
You gotta relax. You need a hobby. You should try golf.
Finally, there's the music, which isn't too bad. That gets a pass. I give Lake Placid 2 1.5 crocs out of 4.
Come on, Scott. Last one in's gotta pitch the tent.
Larry's already pitching a tent.